What is going on? Putting mom in a storage shed. Oh, that. I just got tired of taking care of her. I can't help it, okay? What? Are you kidding me? When I went to my mother-in-law's house to take her to the hot springs, we found her trembling in the storage shed in a pitiful state. I was speechless at my sister-in-law's inhumane actions and the appalling conditions she had subjected my mother-in-law to. Little did I know that divine retribution was about to befall my sister-in-law. I am a 46-year-old housewife, and my husband is also 46. We have a son who recently moved out to attend college in another state. I had expected him to attend a local university and live with us for a few more years, even after starting his career. However, children often leave the nest earlier than their parents anticipate. Unexpectedly, my husband and I found ourselves with more free time, just the two of us. How about we go on a spa vacation this long weekend? My husband suggested. Lately, he's been coming home early, likely due to recent changes in the work culture. He also seems to be going out for drinks a lot less. That sounds wonderful, I replied. Our first trip alone since our honeymoon, right? Not just vacations. I can't even remember the last time we went out to eat, just the two of us. It's been that long. Yeah, but how about inviting your mom this time? I suggested, surprising my husband. Although we're both in our 40s and still physically capable of taking care of my mother-in-law during the trip, we've declined her invitations multiple times since our son started grade school, often using parenting as an excuse. My husband had also been declining due to work commitments. Without opportunities like this, we might grow distant from her. After I explained my reasons, my husband agreed. My mother-in-law currently lives with my sister-in-law and her husband, so we decided to reach out to her. I thought it might be better handled between women, so I called my sister-in-law. Perfect timing, she said. We were about to go on a trip and didn't know what to do with mom. Luckily, I found someone who can take care of her. We were on speakerphone because my husband wanted to speak to his mother. When my sister-in-law made her self-centered comment, he was livid. Hey, what the hell do you mean by that? He demanded. Oh, would you look at the time? We're going to miss our flight. My sister-in-law brushed off his concern, emphasizing her own busyness and abruptly ending the call. What the hell is my sister doing? Is mom okay with her acting like that? My husband fumed. The excitement of reuniting with his mother after so long was overshadowed by growing anxiety. We need to go there right now, he declared urgently. The in-laws' house is situated in the same city, though our neighborhood is a newly developed area that has expanded over the last 2 decades. In contrast, the vicinity around their home still boasts houses dating back to the 1920s. Although my sister-in-law and her husband moved in with my mother-in-law and renovated the house, it retains an old-world charm. After a 20-minute drive, we arrived at the in-laws' house. We could see the roof, but the front door was locked, and our attempts to call and knock went unanswered. I tried reaching Lisa to inquire about a spare key, but couldn't get through. Our anxiety grew as we frantically searched around the mailbox, under plant pots, and in other possible spots for a hidden key. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure. John was exploring nearby when he also noticed it. Could she be in here? He murmured, peering into the shed. Then he shouted in shock. I hurried over and found my mother-in-law wrapped in cardboard, shivering uncontrollably. Mom, I exclaimed. She was barely dressed, barefoot with disheveled hair and a pale face. Her skin looked dry, and there was an unsettling odor. Her appearance was less concerning than her well-being. How long had she been left in this state? We need to warm her up quickly. I know, damn it. Should we break the window to get in? John suggested urgently. Hold on, what about the backyard window? It might be open, I proposed. The backyard was shielded from the street, offering a chance that they might have forgotten to secure it. John hurried over and, as I had hoped, found the window unlocked. He entered the house, unlocked the front door, and brought his mother inside. From then on, we operated with seamless coordination, like a well-rehearsed team. I warmed the room while John wrapped her in blankets. I changed her clothes while he prepared the bath. As I bathed her, he readied the bed, and together we settled her in. Oh, it's so warm. It's like heaven, his mother murmured, closing her eyes as she seemed to drift off to sleep. Your mom should have a family doctor at her age, right? I suggested, contemplating the urgency of the situation. We needed medical assistance but couldn't locate her room. As I searched for a change of clothes for her, I couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. It became evident we were facing a life-threatening scenario, prompting me to borrow clothes from Lisa. Despite her extensive wardrobe, none of the clothes seemed suitable for my mother-in-law. We scored for her insurance card and prescription information to no avail, leading us to search online for a doctor who could conduct a home visit. Once secured, John promptly alerted the authorities. Upon arrival, the doctor emphasized the critical timing of our intervention. Delay could have been disastrous, especially given the severe winter conditions and the potential for snow in the mountains. The examination revealed signs of malnutrition and dehydration from severely limited food and water intake. Additionally, her neglected living conditions had caused a distressing skin rash and even lice infestation, a shocking development in modern times. The doctor prescribed medications and urged us to arrange a follow-up with her regular family doctor as soon as possible. As we searched for her insurance card and essential items, we came across the contact details for the caregiving service that had been responsible for her well-being. Luckily, it was still saved in the home phone's contacts. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, we reached out to understand what had transpired during the period we were preoccupied with our own lives. After contacting the service, we learned that Lisa had abruptly terminated the contract without prior notice, leaving them unable to intervene further. The caregiver expressed genuine concern for my mother-in-law, mentioning occasional bruises that hinted at possible domestic abuse. They had attempted to address this delicate issue with Lisa, but she had evaded their inquiries. Years of daily abuse? Was my mother enduring this? John exclaimed angrily. Damn it. Yes, we were overwhelmed when our first child arrived, but that doesn't justify neglecting my mother's welfare. I deeply regretted interpreting my mother-in-law's words. It's okay, it's okay. As a mother, it's natural that your child comes first, as mere reassurance. Looking back, our frequent invitations for us to visit may have been cries for help, a plea to escape Lisa's mistreatment. Voicing my regret, I confessed to my husband, who reassured me, it's not your fault. I'm equally responsible, if not more so. Now, only Lisa and her husband hold the truth. We won't know for sure until we hear it from them, but Lisa is capable of such actions without remorse. Anticipating potential disputes over what was said or omitted, we decided to record all our future phone conversations. Lisa reluctantly answered the phone, sounding annoyed to be interrupted during her vacation. However, when my husband raised his voice, she begrudgingly began to speak, her tone flat and detached. I listened intently to the conversation on speakerphone. My mother's forgetfulness was really starting to grate on my nerves. I got so frustrated and just gave her a little shove, but she happened to be standing at the top of the stairs. She tumbled down like a sack of potatoes. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lisa was referring to her own mother as a sack of potatoes, and her tone suggested she found it somewhat amusing. Then she couldn't get up on her own. I knew it was serious, but I was just so tired of dealing with everything, so I decided to put her in the shed. Lisa continued casually. You know how you store things you don't need or can't use in the shed? It's like that, she added, laughing. It was clear that Lisa was treating her own mother like an object, dismissing her as useless despite the fact that she had given birth to her and raised her. The selfishness of her attitude made me feel physically ill. The caregiver doesn't know about this, so it's fine. Just make sure nothing unnecessary happens, okay? It dawned on me then that Lisa understood the severity of the situation after she pushed her mother down the stairs, which led her to abruptly cancel the caregiving services. She spoke callously, saying things like, as long as she has water, she'll be fine for a week, and if she starts wandering around, we can just tie her up. It was horrifying and utterly unbearable to hear. Oh, and you guys should cooperate too. If things keep going like this, she's going to die from weakness. If she does pass peacefully, I'm considering sharing some of the inheritance with you guys. Not a bad deal, right? Lisa's tone conveyed a chilling belief in her flawless plan, punctuated by an unsettling laugh. Her proposal defied all reason and veered into madness. Listening to Lisa, I felt a deep unease as though she herself were a dangerous weapon. Fear gripped me and I couldn't stop shaking. Meanwhile, my husband handled the situation calmly, allowing Lisa to explain without immediate objection, merely nodding along. He ambiguously responded to her plea for cooperation, neither fully accepting nor rejecting it. His strategy was to lower her defenses and encourage her to return home. Unbeknownst to Lisa, the police we had alerted had already arrived at her location and were monitoring our phone conversations. They instructed us to extract as much information as possible from her and to prevent her from escaping by feigning agreement with her plans. John, my husband, seemed poised to denounce and condemn Lisa's actions outright. I couldn't bear to witness the anguish on his face again, the strain of suppressing his emotions while listening to Lisa. I fervently hoped we would soon emerge from this sorrowful ordeal. Unaware of our collaboration with the police, Lisa and her husband enjoyed their vacation to the fullest. Exactly 1 week after we discovered their mistreatment of my mother-in-law, they returned home. As Lisa spoke about her mother, I casually inquired about their return schedule. Little did they know, the police were waiting to apprehend them upon their arrival. An arrest warrant had already been issued, and they were taken into custody as soon as the document was presented. What's going on? You're my own brother, selling out your sister to the cops? What a lowlife you are. And you cops, watch where you're touching me. I'll sue you, mark my words. Lisa, a middle-aged woman, spat out her words like a washed-up thug. John regarded his sister with a mixture of disdain and disappointment. The real lowlife here is you, John retorted calmly. Hey officer, that guy, my brother, he's a sly fox, always been a liar with a honeyed voice, Lisa continued, attempting to smear my husband's reputation. She then boldly asserted, Mom has been suffering from dementia for years. No matter how many times I explain it, she insists the storage shed is her home. Isn't it better to let her do as she pleases? Even doctors say that yelling at dementia patients only makes things worse. But we already had Lisa's confession recorded. When John played back the phone conversation, Lisa and her husband paled visibly and sank to the ground. From now on, you'll be behind bars. We've already completed the necessary procedures while you were away. Don't act so superior, dumping the responsibility of that helpless old woman on us. You have no right. You insisted on remaining childless so you could care for our aging parents instead. It was you, Lisa, who asked us to forfeit our share of the inheritance. My husband said calmly. It seemed this was an arrangement they had made before John and I were married. You were the one who broke the pact first. If it was too much for you, you could have told me. That would have been fine with me, John said with a choked voice, expressing his readiness to care for his parents. Lisa's initial plan was to care for her mother in exchange for claiming all of the inheritance. However, her mother unexpectedly remained resilient and lived longer than expected. Unable to tolerate this, Lisa devised a plan to make her mother's passing appear natural due to frailty. As for the ownership of the family home, it remained in their mother's name since their father's death. Fortunately, the property was not in Lisa's name. Therefore, we decided to demolish the deteriorated family home and convert it into an empty lot. We plan to sell the lot later. The demolition date has already been set, so please remove your personal belongings as soon as possible. You must be joking. I'm under arrest, you idiot. How am I supposed to do that? We've rented a storage unit for 3 years to store your belongings. It will be paid for from your savings, John informed Lisa. What? Who gave you the right to make decisions on your own? You used to be a crybaby, always running to your big sister. Now suddenly you've grown a spine. Lisa raged, incensed that John had taken charge of her finances. Despite her protests, John remained composed. He added that if the lease couldn't be extended after 3 years, they had the right to dispose of the contents. Lisa could only stare in disbelief, unable to argue. It was a clear victory for us. The police intervened, declaring that enough had been said. They escorted Lisa and her husband into a waiting police car. Resisting until the last moment, they were carried away like uncooperative luggage. In the days that followed, the demolition of our parents' house proceeded smoothly. It turned out that my mother-in-law had not been suffering from dementia after all. Her forgetfulness was simply a part of aging, a common experience that doesn't typically inconvenience others. I too sometimes forget what I was about to do, only to recall it later. Similarly, my mother-in-law was like that. Thanks to her, Lisa had no legal grounds to contest the decision to demolish the house, as my mother-in-law was the rightful owner. Since Lisa and her husband didn't retrieve their belongings from the house, we proceeded with the demolition, leaving their possessions inside. Now they are incarcerated. It appeared they were unaware they could have preserved their belongings by making appropriate arrangements such as hiring a company to move them with the assistance of a court-appointed attorney. Their actions became widely known after being featured on television in a segment titled True Stories That Seem Unbelievable, likening their behavior to a modern-day abandonment of elders. Subsequently, Lisa and her husband were charged with elder abuse and neglect by the authorities responsible for their protection. They were found guilty and are likely to face a significant period of incarceration. We successfully sold the vacant plot for a substantial sum. In addition, we decided to sell our current house, located in a highly sought-after area, which fetched a good price even as a used property. With these funds, we built a new home for the three of us, including my mother-in-law, in a location where we envision spending our elderly years comfortably. The new house is single-story and designed to be elderly-friendly, situated in a town with convenient bus services and excellent care facilities. Since moving, my mother-in-law has shown remarkable improvement in her health. She walks with a straight posture and faithfully performs her daily morning exercises. She now enjoys gardening with me, tending to our vegetable patch every day. Soon, we'll be enjoying the fruits of our labor together at the dinner table.